Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you all know, this is totally sports-based show. We'll definitely be providing information about sports from all across the globe. But anyways, you can also reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News 4. That actually stays up for Instagram, and not only for Instagram, but also for Twitter. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. And yes, Islamabad United won against Karachi Kings by 5 wickets in the PSL clash on Wednesday. India versus England. Yes, that is still underway. And not to forget, England 112 all out, India 145 all out. And yes, Tiger Woods accidentally cast shadow over the World Golf Championship event that's happening from the 25th. And Utah Jazz actually managed to win over LA Lakers 114-89. All right, so those were basic headlines with regards to what's happening all across the globe with regards to sports. And yes, we are definitely talking about Pakistan Super League Season 6. Not to forget that it was an interesting match, a very interesting match yesterday between Islamabad United and Karachi Kings, where actually Karachi Kings did their part as much as they could. However, Islamabad United managed to grab that victory. And to discuss more, we have the wicketkeeper, Mr. Phil Salt, with us on the show. Phil, thank you for being a part of our show.
Hi guys, nice. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Phil, firstly, congratulations on the victory for Islamabad United. It was a phenomenal show. But yes, there were some ups and downs, and we'll surely be talking more about that. Firstly, to begin with, how Karachi Kings started. The score of 196 for 3, and then Babar Azam and Shujeel making this phenomenal 176 run partnership. What exactly was in your mind when everything was, when they were like fully charged with regards to their performance?
Yeah, it's very easy when the ball's flying all over the place to sort of get a bit shell-shocked and to stop sort of seeing the game for what it is and think, oh God, we're under the pump here. We need to, we need to do different stuff. But what I think we did really well and showed our character as a unit was to stick to our defensive plans. And I think actually after the initial partnership, I think we did really well to slow him down, especially as Shajil was getting nearer making his 100. And then I think, in the last 3-4 overs, I thought our bowlers showed nice, cool, calm heads to sort of keep that total under 200. Because obviously we're a very good batting side and we bat deep. So obviously, we feel like we can chase anything on any given day. But I think the bowlers did a really good job to sort of stop, have a second, and then go with a nice, clear plan.
Right. But let's talk about a bit of situations that actually took place in the match with regards to the no balls and the drop catches. Obviously, we always say that catches wins matches, of course. But that probably brings down the morale of the team. But yet again, Islamabad United managed to keep their morales and their heads up with regards to the whole scenario. Otherwise, if this partnership, which is now the record-breaking partnership for PSL, which is 176, the partnership wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, I know it's always a funny one, when you take wickets off no balls and all the rest of it. When that was happening, obviously it's never ideal, and you don't want that to be happening. But we're just saying stick to our plans, keep relaxing, keep doing what you do, and we'll come out on the right side of it. And I think we did that really well.
Right. So let's talk about then Islamabad United coming onto bat. Of course, when you were opening for them. But I think the environmental perspective or the situation scenario has not been too kind for you right now, because I still remember you playing some pretty good innings in the Big Bash when you came to Pakistan. So how do you see yourself adjusting to the environments lately with regards to Pakistani pitches?
Oh, you know what? I don't think the pitches there's been that much difference so far. It might sort of change a little bit as the competition goes on. The surfaces become a little bit more tired. Right. But I think the wickets that we've played on so far have actually been pretty good surfaces. It's one of those things as an opening batter, you see a big total, you want to go out there and you want to get your side off to sort of the best possible start. And, obviously it's not come off in the last couple of games, but that's part of the game. if you got runs every game, if you got runs and wickets every game, it become boring, and everybody would be doing it.
Right, right. Uh, let's talk about obviously Alex Hales, obviously man of the match. Obviously he managed to keep it all up and running and ensuring that the victory is up and running in there. So obviously when I see the scorecard of Islamabad United, it's purely teamwork. It's not individual perspective from how I see it happening.
No, it's not, and that's the beauty of the side that we've got. We're so well balanced, and more than anything, we're a good unit on and off the pitch. So off the pitch, we enjoy each other's success, so much, and I think we are genuinely a very, very tight-knit group, and I don't think that's something you get a lot in franchise cricket.
Right, agreed. So let's talk about the previous match that Islamabad United won, obviously against the Multan Sultans. I would want to know more about that as well, because obviously you guys managed to take that victory from them as well. It was pretty much intense, but yes, there it is. Islamabad United getting their first victory in PSL. How did that feel for the first match that you guys played?
Yeah, it was actually not too dissimilar from the game we had last night. We thought we were well placed after the power play, and then they started playing a few shots, and a couple of their batters came off and played quite nicely, especially Rizwan. And the ball started flying everywhere again. And what I think is so impressive is that 2 from 2 games now, our bowlers have had a second, got a plan, stuck to it, executed it, and then we've come out and chased it as a batting unit. So I think there are a couple of really, really good wins. And if you're going to win competitions like this, you have to chase the big scores and be able to shut teams down when they are going.
Right. So with regards to the upcoming matches, let's maybe talk more about that. How solid and how ready do you think Islamabad United is? Because the next match that we're looking at would be obviously with Peshawar Zalmi. Islamabad United obviously has still won 2 matches so far, and they're like on the top of the chart, but obviously on number 2 with regards to the required run rate. So how do you see the planning for the upcoming match, Peshawar Zalmi versus Islamabad United?
Yeah, I think we're very lucky to have a very good coaching staff. I think Boats and Smithy, top drawer. We've got guys like Saeed Ajmal and Ruman Reis, and they always give us a clear plan. So today's an off day. Go chill. Make sure you get in the gym. Make sure you do your physical prep. But then tomorrow we'll really ramp it up and we'll train with good intensity the day before. That they put massive emphasis on this. And I think so far from the training sessions we've had, we've been taking that out onto the park. I think the prep's going to be fantastic. Obviously, we'll have a few sort of chats in and around the game at training. We know that Peshawar are a good team. We know that they've been playing well. Right. But it's all about sticking to our strengths and controlling what we can control. I know it's a cliche, but it's so true.
So are we looking at Phil Salt, superb inning like the Big Bash in the upcoming matches soon?
Oh, absolutely. As I said, if you got them all the time, it'd become boring and everybody would be doing it. I guess the hallmark of a good player is, when you get a couple of low scores, whether you can come out and play with the same intent and freedom and get the team off to a flyer. And that's always what I'll be looking to do for Islamabad. Interesting.
And Phil, tell me something. How does it feel specifically when you're at the keeping end? Because I think it's more of the pressure. It's more like the backbone of the team. How do you see being a wicketkeeper? How responsible a wicketkeeper has to be to ensure that he supports the entire team?
Yeah, well, when you're keeping, you know that you can't switch off. You don't have many moments where you can sort of relax and have a breather, apart from when you sort of take a wicket. But even then, you communicate with your teammates, talking about what's worked on the wicket, what hasn't worked, what plans. You're almost a sounding board for the bowlers and the captain a lot of the time. You've got to be lining the fielders up, making sure that everybody's in the right place. Just the sort of more subtle nuances of the game you always have to be thinking of, and you've got a responsibility to give the team energy. As you said, the keeper is normally the backbone of the team, and that sort of comes with the territory, I guess. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing that job, and I enjoy being out there when the pressure's on, I guess.
Right. Let's talk about this. The third test that actually happened is still on the way. England versus India. England obviously 112 all out, but then India came up to 145 all out. but now obviously England is again started batting as well, and England is trailing it by 32. So how do you see this match? Obviously, with regards to the scores that we see for now, the scoring is still, with regards to tests, is very technically hard to analyze who's actually going to win. But how did you see both the teams performing?
Look, I think I've not actually watched much of the cricket. I've watched a couple of highlights, so I don't really have that great an idea of what the wicket's doing or what the bowler's doing, that sort of thing, which is so important.
Right.
But what I do know is that the England squad is a very mentally tough group of guys, and to be honest, it doesn't matter whether they're in front of the game, whether they're behind the game. I think they'll always keep playing that sort of tough brand of cricket, if you will. And I think if they do that and they commit to it, and somebody has a day out, with the bat and with the ball, I think they're every shot at winning it.
Right. One interesting question that I'd like to ask, obviously you being a sportsman, obviously, how does it feel? Because this is one question that has been rising lately because of the coronavirus situation, the COVID-19 protocols and the bio bubble and the situation. How frustrating does it become for players when they are, enclosed in that situation before any matches, and specifically when they're touring?
Yeah, it is tough. I've not been home for 4 or 5 months now, so I'm looking forward to eventually getting home. But I know that for the time being, I'm out here for work, for business, and that's first and foremost having a good competition with Islamabad. Sometimes it does creep in. Sometimes you can get slightly frustrated, but you always have to bring it back to what you're doing. What's your reason? What's your why for being here? And my why right now is to hopefully lift the PSL trophy with Islamabad. So as long as you remind yourself of that, for me anyway, you'll be absolutely fine, even though it is quite tough.
Yeah, I decided to ask this question for the fact that, when South Africa was here, the last tour that they have in Pakistan, obviously, de Kock was not up to his mark, and when he left back for South Africa, and his board actually said that he's going to be on a total break because of this entire mental perspective of the coronavirus situation, and I think it probably got to him to that level.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can see how that does happen. It is very mentally tough. When you're constantly stuck in a hotel and you can't really get out, and you've not seen family and friends for a long time. It's very easy to feel quite isolated and quite alone, I guess. But that's where I'm lucky with Islamabad, that I've got great friends in this team, and we're a very tight unit.
Right.
So we've got a lot of support, and we talk about that sort of thing, and we've all got each other's backs.
Right. So it's basically more of the will. Obviously, as mentioned, you guys are professional, and that's what you guys are trained to do. Anyways, I will definitely wish you and Islamabad United all the super best with regards to the upcoming matches, and we'll definitely be looking forward on your performance, not only as a wicketkeeper, but definitely as a batsman as well. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure. So yeah, that was Phil Salt, obviously from Islamabad United. Obviously, he's here all the way from the UK, and we've discussed all the matters with regards to how he sees how the coronavirus situation has impacted. We've definitely talked about how he performed as a wicketkeeper and the differences that that comes in the way with regards to performance. But anyways, what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and once we get back from the break, we'll definitely talk more about the show. See you guys after the break. And welcome back after the break. And yes, before the break, we were talking to Phil Salt and discussing how Islamabad United managed to get their victory, and definitely big congratulations to their team. But not to forget that we're still discussing a bit more of the cricket world that's happening all across the globe. Let's currently focus on the T20 series that's happening in New Zealand against Australia. Yes, New Zealand won their second T20 match against Australia. And New Zealand actually managed to score 219, but unfortunately Australia was unable to really get there. They finished up at 215 for 8, which was on the 20th over. And if we look at the score line and everything, obviously Martin Guptill from New Zealand actually managed to score 97 runs off 50 balls. Kane Williamson obviously 53 for 35 balls, and James Neesham obviously not out, 45 for 16. If you look at the Australian side of the batting lineup, that was obviously Sonias, who actually managed to scores 78 for 37 balls, with Josh Philippe actually managing to get 45 for 32 and Daniel Sams 41 for 15. It was an interesting match for the fact that anything that goes above 200 definitely becomes really, really tough for the other team to chase. But yet again, it turned out to be New Zealand's second victory, and New Zealand is now leading the entire series by 2-0. Let's hope the next match that actually happens brings Australian back to life, because the Australian cricket team has definitely been suffering lately with regards to their performance. On the contrary, New Zealand is still on fire. But anyways, this was from the world of cricket. I'll definitely be swinging over to the world of golf. Yes, World Golf Championship. I'll be talking more about that. And to discuss this with me is Mr. Salman Abbasi, who's a national golfer. Mr. Salman, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Salman, I would want to start with obviously the World Golf Championship that has just started. What's your take on it? How do you see it? Because obviously they still have those coronavirus situations and everything, but slowly and gradually the sports world is opening up. So how do you see the World Golf Championship taking place in Florida?
World golf is not a contact sport, so it's very easy to follow the SOPs of coronavirus in golf.
Right.
World Golf Championship is one of the largest tournaments in the world, and more important thing is it's sponsored by two golf tours,
right,
main tours like European Tour and Professional Tour of America.
Right.
So it's a very large tournament, very big championship. All the main athletes take part in it.
Right. So apparently there are 72 players that have actually been listed for this tournament. And who's your current favorite that you actually look into, or who do you think who would be someone who would definitely be on the front line on winning this tournament?
Max Homa is the current champion. He just won the last championship.
Right.
So he's in a good form, but my vote would be with Dustin Johnson. Because the form he has shown over the last month or so,
right,
is too good.
Right. With regards to Dustin Johnson, the Genesis Cup also just took place, right? And yes, Max Homa eventually managed to grab that, even though everybody was vouching for Dustin Johnson. So how do you see this, obviously, Dustin being your favorite, or you think that you would probably be voting or vouching for him? How do you see his performance in getting that title that, you know, is something that, you know, you can
Max Homa?
Yes.
Yes, I understand. Max Homa was he has shown very good nerves. He's a good player,
right,
but he has shown very good nerves. Now, showing good nerves is a very unique thing.
Right.
Normally, it's in great players. So
right,
Max Homa has shown very good nerves, as he was in a playoff with Tony Finau.
Right.
And he won on the second playoff hole. So he's a very good player and he will win so many tournaments. But for this, I think my vote is still with Dustin Johnson, because with his range and capabilities, it will take some time to beat him.
Right. I would want to know more about the World Golf Championship itself. How many major tournaments do actually take place on a worldwide level of the Golf Association internationally?
There are actually 4 major tournaments.
Right.
They are called majors because 3 of them take place on the American Tour, PGA Tour, and one is the British Open, which
right,
is actually the oldest tournament. It first took place in 1857.
Wow.
In Scotland.
Right.
And it still takes place.
In St. Andrews, if I'm not wrong.
Not every year in St. Andrews. It started from there.
Right, right. The origination was St. Andrews. Interesting, interesting. And what's the significance of this current tournament, the World Golf Championship?
This current championship is very significant just because next month, in the starting of April,
right,
one of the major tournaments like Masters is taking place.
Right.
So especially the top 50 golf players of the world are taking place to get tournament ready.
Right.
So it's a very important tournament.
So what's your take on the Genesis that actually took place? How did you see that invitational? And we'll surely come up to, obviously it was hosted by Tiger Woods. We'll surely come up to Tiger Woods' situation as well. But let's just generally talk about the Genesis itself. How did you see the Genesis? How impactful was it for all those golfers that actually played in it?
Genesis was an invitational tournament.
Right.
So normally the invitation is extended to the top 50 of the world,
Right.
and 20 are exceptions.
Right.
So Max Homa, to win, especially the selected few, he has won and he came up as best player among them. So it must give him a lot of confidence.
Right.
It will help him. Certainly, it will help him. It is a good tournament, and especially when it is hosted by Tiger Woods.
True.
Tiger Woods is a living legend, and everybody respects him. So,
right.
He being there and he being the host, that makes everything very special.
Interesting. Absolutely. But let's get to the tragedy that actually happened with Tiger Woods with regards to the accident that took place. It was literally a near fatal accident. I've seen the footages, of the vehicle that actually toppled down. I just read some more updates with regard to his recovery. He's now back awake, and obviously the sheriffs there have actually said that he wasn't really reckless diving, so there would be no criminal charges against him. How do you see his recovery? Because obviously his ankle and his right leg is literally in a very, very bad condition.
Yes, his ankle was shattered, and he received two fractures in his leg.
Right.
One of them was compound.
Right.
And now he's back in the normal ward. His surgery is over, and I think from 3 to 6 months it will take 3 to 6 months for him to come back on the golf course.
Right.
And another 6 months to get back on the tour.
Right. I still remember in the Genesis, he couldn't really participate, even though obviously it was hosted by him, but he couldn't participate because he already was going through a back injury, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yeah, it's your information is quite right. He received it was actually his fifth surgery on his back. It's a special surgery, kind of a surgery, and he was recovering from it.
Right.
But in the same event, he told the news guys that he will take part in the Masters. So he recovered. He was very well, I think, when he said this.
Right. Anyways, we wish him a speedy recovery. Obviously, hearing that news totally shattered not only us, but I'm sure people like you, those who follow him, respect him. Anyways, Salman Basi, I would like to know more about your journey as a national golf player of Pakistan. How did you start your journey? I would like to have more take on that.
Actually, I belong to a golfing family. My father was a Pakistan team captain, and he was a colonel in the army. He remained army champion for 15 years. So normally people of Pakistan have cricket as their first game, and our family have golf as their first game. Right. So I started playing golf.
Right.
I started playing golf when I was 7 years of age.
Right.
I became junior champion of Pakistan in '87 when I was 11 years of age.
Wow.
So since then I've been playing so many tournaments. I've been playing amateur tournament around Pakistan. Internationally I have also played.
Right.
And now currently I'm a professional player.
Nice.
I carry a professional card from 2015.
Nice.
So I've won all over the country. I have especially Rawalpindi Golf Course is my hometown.
Right.
So I've won most of my tournaments here.
Right. Interesting. So what's the biggest achievement that you've had as a golfer so far?
I've won a tournament that is a national tournament. It's called Prime Minister Open.
Right.
It takes place annually here. I've won it as an amateur.
Right.
I've won it in 2 different categories.
Right.
Which is very rare actually.
Right.
I've won it in net category and I've won it in gross category also.
Right. Right.
So yes.
Thank you very much.
Rare.
It was an absolute pleasure, Mr. Salman, on having you on the show and discussing not only the insight but obviously your insight. Good luck to you in the world of golf, Ji.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. So that was Salman, and I was definitely talking about his take on golf itself. Wishing quick recovery to Tiger Woods for sure. But anyways, we'll switch over to the last news of the day from the world of NBA. Yes, Utah Jazz actually managed to win against LA Lakers. Not to forget that it was 114 to 89. I think this kind of defeat is something that was not really expected from LA Lakers, because obviously there's a big ball game. LeBron James only managed to score 19 points against the Utah Jazz, which is definitely going to be shattering for the team, obviously, and their standings. And Utah actually finished with 22 three-pointers and 45% shooting from beyond the arc. But anyways, that was a pretty much information from the world of NBA as well. We'll surely keep you posted about the standings as soon as they develop. But anyways, if you guys want to reach out to us, you surely can reach out to us on a social media handle, which is @Indus News Sports. Till then, take good care of yourself and bye-bye.